What is going on, Colts Nation? He's Jamal, and I'm Eric, your co-host of the Colts Cast. We are back. Hey, we
What's
haven't.
up?
We're usually live like 2 to 3 times per week during the regular season, but here we are. It's the off season. We're a little off.
Everybody needs a little break. Everybody need a little
Everybody,
break from the Colts.
hey,
You know,
but Colts Cast fans, y'all show up. So I hear y'all. Look, the NFL Combine is here. There have been quite a few standouts in Indy over the weekend. I mean, y'all seen them. I don't even have to put names to it. Like Nick Eman Ward. Hey, let's not talk about it because we're here to talk about a guy that didn't even fucking work out. That's what I'm talking about. Enter Arizona wide receiver. Man, I'm about to mess this up, Jamal.
you should have phonetically put it up there for yourself. Go ahead.
What is it? I call him Tet.
Tetairoa.
Tetairoa McMillan. Jamal, look, so we've talked about what the Colts need. We've talked about draft positions. What are the highest positions of need for the Indianapolis Colts? We talked about our love for Malachi Starks, Tyler Warren, these positions of need. But Jamal, I think this is what you young bucks considered a hot take here today. Because we're talking about Tetairoa McMillan, a wide receiver who I think most of the Colts community would consider not a high position of need. Am I wrong or am I right?
Yeah, I think majority of the people you would ask, they would probably say it's not a hot commodity. But in my eyes, I'm all about it for more reasons than one.
Why is that?
Well, before I talk about it, go ahead and hit that like, subscribe button, drop a comment below. Let us know what you feel, if you agree or disagree, or who was a standout for you at the combine, who you wish would have participated in that. But before I get into that, Eric, I just want to show all Colts Nation. I was in my garage this afternoon cleaning stuff out, going through some bins and stuff, and look at this little gem I found in my garage today. I said, look at this.
He said in his garage.
It was just chilling. It was chilling
Just
in like
chilling there.
in a bucket. I said, well, now I got to figure out a spot to put it.
Can't hide money.
Hey, listen, neither here nor there, though. But I was kind of excited to see it. I haven't seen this thing in a couple years, so that was nice to see it. But anyway, back to the regular scheduled program. You asked why we want a wide receiver right now. Well, for more reasons than the one. Number one, our wide receiver core, although we think it's doing okay right now, we still have some work to do in this wide receiver core. We do.
What kind of work?
A lot. We got to remember, MPJ's contract is through 2026.
Do we have a wide receiver one? Do we have a legit wide receiver?
No, we don't have a wide receiver one. No, we already know that conversation. We already know. Huh? Which is why I led off by saying.
No, I didn't hear that. You said we don't have a legit wide receiver one?
No. Everybody on this pod who's been listening knows how I feel about that. Again, as I've said in the past, and I'll say it in the present, and I'll say it in the future too, the majority of Colts fans will say that Michael Pittman Jr. is our wide receiver one. If you throw the hour in there, then that tells me what I need to know. If you say he is a wide receiver one, that's a different story for a different day. But neither here nor there. But Michael Pittman Jr.'s contract is through 2026. So he got that $3. He's getting like $23 million a year or something like that,
yeah,
roughly.
He's making
some serious money. Yeah. The Colts cannot run that back again. They can't afford to. They can't afford to pay Pittman Jr. that much again for the potential production that we could see out of that. That after this contract is done, you could re-sign him if you would like to, but we have to remember he's getting up there in age. Now we have an opportunity to get a young guy in here who could potentially get on the rookie contract, who could potentially elevate this wide receiver core, bring in a little more competition. Ballard talks about competition. This is a perfect time to bring in somebody who can bring a little bit of spunk and competition to the room, because again, we gotta work smarter, not harder. We can't wait until our players leave to then say, all right, now we need to fix this problem. Bring in a young buck right now. You have an opportunity to.
Don't talk about it. Playoffs.
Yeah, we're not getting there. We're not getting there. But we're talking about a big guy who knows how to use his hands. I've seen a lot of comps. Read a couple about Mike Evans. A lot about Drake London. They're comparing.
Call it to him.
They're comparing this to this guy who was what 6'5", 212.
I think he measured at 6'4" at the combine, but he's a real 6'4". Like he's not a fake 6'4".
Legit, and a deep ball threat. has a decent, a pretty solid route tree. It can only go up from there. My man, you can put the ball. He catches at such a high point. I know you guys heard a lot of high point terminology used throughout the combine this past couple of days,
Got a high
but he
point
can
the
high
ball.
point that ball, and literally because he's so linky, get above the average DB and maybe even the above average DB and still hit the ground running, because he doesn't his plan is not to stop once he catches the ball. His plan is to get to the next level and continue down the field.
I've
So that's
seen
someone
him
who has
windmill a entire football after a catch. Like, I've
exactly.
seen that in a video. Man is athletic.
Yeah. Strength, size, everything is there. Every little check mark you want to check for Chris Ballard is there. It's just a matter of, does Chris Ballard feel that this would benefit us at the number 14 spot? And the second question, the bigger one than that, is, would he be the number 1 or the number 14 spot in the first round? There are a lot of defensive players in this draft. A lot of teams need defensive players. A couple need some offensive players. So there's an opportunity for him to fall back, or maybe the Colts decide to make that little bump up to shake things up a little bit and try to go after a
Might not
player.
even
Depending
need
on how
to.
aggressive, you may not even need to.
Might
But
not
there are a
even need
lot.
to.
His upside is pretty high from what I've seen.
And yeah, because I've seen plenty of guys. I think this is one of the drafts where you don't have a defined top 5, top 10 who's going to go where. Like, it wasn't like last season where you knew these guys were not going to be there when the Colts were going to pick. This is a draft where it is a free for all, just all bar. You don't know what's going to happen. So imagine a scenario, Jamal, where Tet is available at 14. Let's say Tyler Warren is there as well. You know, y'all's people. I mean, y'all's favorite. And when I say y'all, I mean Colts community. Look, I like Tyler Warren. I really do. So I have to ask this question because we don't sugarcoat it here, Jamal. We keep it straightforward. We shoot it straight. You know, are you taking a tight end over arguably the best wide receiver prospect in this draft? Tyler Warren stands. Do not kill me here. Do not kill Jamal. Let's talk this out. I think an argument can be made to avoid a first round tight end. This tight end class is a little deeper than most. You can count on one hand, on literally one hand, how many first round tight ends have lived up to expectations relative to their draft position. Brock Bowers is an outlier. We have to just come to an understanding on that. Kyle Pitts, what they call him, Jamal, a bus?
Yeah.
To his draft expert. Look, because we made a video on getting Kyle Pitts for a day 2, day 3 flyer. But for his relative to his draft position, Hayden Hurst, what they call him?
What they call him?
OJ Howard, Jamal, what they call him? I can keep going. I mean, you can talk about like Dalton Kincaid. He's been okay, but like when you look at this last playoff game, I mean, it just dropped out of his hand. Look, the lack of production and hit rate always keeps me a bit wary on using a first round draft pick on tight end. But then again, Brock Bowers has been crazy good. But then again, Jamal, the Raiders only won 4 games. It's just a lot to comprehend here. And you add a guy like you talk about, Jamal, you talk about maximizing year 3 Anthony Richardson. How do you do that? I think there's a case for Tetairoa. Like who? Like you said, Jamal, who is a true wide receiver 1 on this team? Let's keep it real. This is the episode to keep it real. Who's the wide receiver 1 on this team, Jamal?
You tell me. AP.
Is it AP?
AP had the most production.
He did. On the lowest amount of receptions, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's a legit number 1 on this team.
No, there's not. No, let's be clear about that. I'll be the first to tell. There's not a number 1 on this team.
And it's been mediocre, right? Something we've been trying to avoid, right? We don't want to be mediocre. And let's call a spade a spade. This wide receiver core is mediocre. You got Michael Pittman Jr. I love Michael Pittman Jr. I got his jersey. It's not a wide receiver 1. He just isn't. Alec Pierce. I love Alec Pierce. He's not a wide receiver one. I love Josh Downs. Out of all the wide receivers, I could see Josh Downs somehow being that godlike tier slot wide receiver. Out of any one of these guys, I could see him taking off. Now, he's had some injury concerns and things like that, but he has been a stud for the Indianapolis Colts. Still don't see him as a wide receiver one, a true prototypical guy that, like you said, Jamal, ability to high point the ball, prototypical size, athleticism, immense quickness, huge catch radius, all those things, production in college to back him up. You line him up on the outside or in the slot. This is a guy you can plug and play anywhere you want. Diverse route tree. Look, you can say Tet doesn't have the big top end speed, just like some of our other guys. Doesn't matter. You don't need that when you have everything else. So big red zone threat, guy you can count on third downs. I don't know. Jamal,
Not to mention, one-on-one, you're not going to get him one-on-one. If we're doing a jump ball, I mean, I know we talk about AP in his one-on-one game, and jump ball game is phenomenal. Ted's the same way. I mean, we didn't even talk about stats really, but just for those of you who hadn't seen and or heard his stats, 2022 for him, he had 39 receptions, 702 yards, averaging 18 with 8 tuds. 2023, 90 receptions, 1402 yards, averaging 15.6 with 10 tuds. And then 2024, 84 receptions, 1319 yards, 15.7 receptions, and 8 tuds. And there are some people who will say that his QB play in 2024 was subpar.
Name his quarterback. Name the quarterback at Arizona right now. Exactly. That's the thing, Jamal. And are you passing up Mike Evans 2.0 right now? Are you passing up at number 14 when you're Chris Ballard and your offense has to live up to expectation? You have to take that next level up, of course. We added Lou Anarumo as our defensive coordinator.
Sure.
Our defense has to get better. But arguably, I would say Luther Burden's right up there as a wide receiver one prospect. But
sure,
are you passing up Tet at number 14?
I mean, I'm personally not. No, I'm not. Not for a tight end. Again, I know people. I know it's a shiny toy. But I'm not doing it. Yeah.
I just think prospect for prospect, you have to think about the best tight ends in this league right now. And you have to think about it like in the NFL. It actually takes a long time. I feel like in my opinion, in my worst opinion, it takes a while to develop to be a quality NFL tight end. I would say, again, I've already talked about it, Brock Bowers is an outlier, but like you think about the best tight ends, they did not get taken in the first round. Just in my opinion, the lack of production that comes out of the first round, like you even look about last year, Jamal, like you look how good Malik Neighbors was. Roma Dunze, when he had a chance to show out. Marvin Harrison Jr. had an okay season.
You got Kyler at the helm of this season, so not all that.
Exactly. I didn't think the offense funneled through him correctly, but you got to think about Brian Thomas Jr. Yep. How he showed out for the Jacksonville Jaguars, whether Trevor Lawrence.
I wanted him.
Or Matt. You did want him. But whether Mac Jones or Trevor Lawrence was back there, he showed out.
Got the job done.
I mean, you got to have a legit number one guy. It can't be excuses every week and every week in and out. It just can't be. And I don't think we have that guy.
No, we haven't. We haven't had it in a very long time, and that's just a realization that people have to come to. And those conversations are always hard because obviously you want to root for your home team guys and all that other stuff, but you got to recognize reality. You got to recognize that even though we came, we haven't won the AFC South in years, and it's for a reason. Okay, because we need these playmakers. We need our aces in their places, and this is a perfect opportunity to go after an ace right here that you can get to then increase longevity bring in the competition that you've talked about. If we have a room of 7 tight ends and they can't create competitions amongst themselves, then that means there's something else bigger going on. But if we have a room of 5 wide receivers and we know 3 are going to be on the field, we need an extra one in there to help create some more competition. So I don't think that necessarily bringing an 8th into this to this room of tight ends is going to elevate or do anything. It's going to create any kind of urgency for them, because it just doesn't work that way. But bringing in this extra wide receiver who has the ability to be wide receiver 1 from day 1, who has the ability to play under this rookie contract, and then again progress to the future of what this team is of young studs, then or what this team could be of young studs, then that's where we want to get to.
Yeah, I think the argument can be made that like a lot of times Shane Steichen will only run like 3 wide receivers on the field. So it's like, what will add in another wide receiver do? But like you said, Jamal, competition, iron sharpens iron. You think about it, like we can weed out the guys and we can have a seriously elite wide receiver room. Like, okay, let's say Michael Pittman drops off. We got Alec Pierce, we got Josh Downs, and we got Tetairoa McMillan. It won't hurt me that we have a very deep wide receiver room. Like, it's not like we can't get these other guys of position of need in the later rounds. It like everyone isn't a star out of the first round. We can get them on day 2. We can get them on day 3.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that we don't get Malachi Starks isn't in the world. The fact that we don't get a Will Johnson, it's not the end of the world. Or Tyler Warren, it's not the end of the world. This is an argument, Jamal. This whole episode right now is an argument for the best player available. If Taroa McMillan is there at number 14, do you pass him up? That is the ultimate question on this entire pod, because I would argue he's a top 5 prospect overall in this entire draft. So maybe he's not on your highest position of need, but boy, you had somebody like that. You had a Drake London 2.0. I would say that's an argument to help Anthony Richardson out. Like, all the qualities we talked about are things that will make the job easier on a quarterback. And that's what we want to do for Anthony Richardson's long-term success. Am I wrong or am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the biggest thing that grounds out to me, it's just hard numbers. Hard numbers. I know we talk about that all the time. It's easy to sit here and Eric and I to sugarcoat and kind of fluff all these people up to make y'all feel better about them. But the thing are hard numbers. Statistically, we've seen Tyler Warren, and of course, I know he's been there since 2021. He had this one breakout year for him in 2024. 104 receptions, 1233 yards, averaging 11.9 and 8 tuds. Great. But I'm telling you, now when we flick back over to Ted's stats, we're talking about 3 years of averaging at least 15 and a half yards in reception, averaging at least 8 touchdowns. And that right there, consistency is what we want to see. I want to see this production over and over and over and over. And I don't know what happened in 2022, just because, he's a freshman clearly. But even with 39 receptions for 702 yards, he was still putting in crazy work. So yeah, he would have been on pace to probably smoke. Not probably. He would have been on pace to smoke his 2023 and 2024 stats had he continued on. He did 39 receptions with 8 touchdowns. What I'm getting at is this: these numbers have been consistent for him year over year over year, which means that that's his base standard of playing. That's his floor for him. So let's elevate this. Let's elevate this thing. Really high floor. We don't know where the ceiling is, but he has a really high floor right now for us, to where we know he's going to come in there from day one and be a factor. He's going to be a legitimate factor for us, and we can continue to grow that ceiling up for him.
Give me a proper X receiver who can line up on the line of scrimmage that can that can kill it. Like. And he's gonna kill it. Like that's what I feel like he's gonna do. Like, that's how I feel about Taroa McMillan. So
yeah,
I don't know. It would just be really hard for the Colts to pass up Taroa McMillan, in my opinion. In this hot take, I think, Jamal, you feel the same way. You feel the same way about this wide receiver core. It's a good wide receiver core, but it's not great. Like, you compare it to the elite wide receiver cores, and like, we're probably in the proper market. You talk about free agents for the wide receivers. Like, we're in the market for T. Higgins because I honestly think we don't have that caliber wide receiver. Josh Jacobs said it best with the Green Bay Packers. He legitimately said at the end of the season, I don't believe we have a wide receiver one. Now, he probably shouldn't have said that. But he spoke his truth about his team, about where the status of his team is. And I don't think the Colts have spoke the truth about their team.
You don't have to say I
And
don't think about that. You can say I know they haven't. Just you don't have to see why.
yeah, so I would say I think the Colts are in a prime position to upgrade in a specific position group. I think Ballard could fuck it up like he always does. I think he can. But I think this is a prime position. If Tech McMillan is available, because probably you look at the 13 other people that's ahead of us, I would say not a lot of them are looking for a wide receiver as a position need, but fall to 14 and Tech McMillan's there, we're just arguing the case that Tech McMillan should be highly considered at this point because I would say some people have argued that Ted McMillan is comparable to Michael Pittman, but I think from a talent perspective and draft profile, I think McMillan is a little higher tier than what Pittman came out of USC. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
So we're done talking about why we should take the number 1 wide receiver prospect at the number 14 overall pick. We want to hear what Colts Nation has to think about this. Let us know because we got a month or so. We got a month or so until the NFL draft. We have a lot of things we could do. Trades have already happened. Deebo Samuel just got traded to the Washington
Commanders. For a pack of Pringles.
Pack of Pringles. Was it worth it? Was it not? Was it an underpay? Was it an overpay? That's what people are going to talk about. But I would say let's focus on the Indianapolis Colts, what we can do to get better, because the goal for Chris Ballard, it has to be playoffs. It has to be. It's playoffs or bust at this point. Anthony Richardson is in year 3. What can we do with this team that he's crafted over the last decade? That's the big question. So, Jamal's team out on Chris Ballard.
That's crazy. A decade and he still hasn't figured it out. That's wild. I wonder what would happen if I went to my job and did it 10 years, did it wrong for 10 years. And I was just like, hey, my man, I'll see you tomorrow. That's we're not doing that tonight. I just want to know though. I just want to know what would happen. Drop a comment below. Let me know what would happen in your job if you went there for 9 years and didn't do it right.
We're playing Texas Hold'em right now, Jamal. And you just look, Chris Ballard.
You got to know when to fold him.
He's not folding.
Know when to walk away.
He's had pocket aces, pocket kings. He's not folding though. He's got a 2-7 offsuit right now. And he's trying to figure out, how am I going to advance? Look,
let me tell you listen, let me tell you how he thinks he's going to advance. He thinks that throwing all this stuff onto the whole Richardson project is what's going to save his ass. He's going down this route. Oh, we got to create competition. That's his new mantra for this year. Create competition for Anthony Richardson. So let me put all this pressure on Richardson.
I ain't going to argue with Jamal this year because
who was a 20. No, I agree.
Speaking facts last year, so I can't say nothing.
Listen, we got to create competition for this 23-year-old because I can't do my job competently. So now I have to create competition and put it on him to do his job to make up for everything because I fucked up for 9 years. But I'm not doing that today, Eric. I'm not doing that right now. So that's it. Because you about to get me started.
Well, this is about Ted McMillan.
It is. I just
look, like I was saying, I want this team to succeed. I want to be in the playoffs. Playoffs, whether we get in barely or not, it's big to punch your ticket into the. I would argue that the biggest platform, I would say the Super Bowl. What was it? The most watched out of any Super? Was it, Jamal?
I think. Yeah. At least the halftime show was.
But. Yeah, I know the last halftime show of the 49ers Chiefs, it blew past that.
Yeah.
So I would think people are watching it. Like,
Yeah.
people are invested into the NFL. It really is. It's an awesome sport. It's the highest level of professionalism of I would say a lot of sports. I want to see this team succeed. So we'll see what comes in April, but I think this is a big hot take for us. I don't think any other Colts content creator or anybody is talking about taking Tet McMillan at number 14 if he's available. But here we are. We are trying to maximize the success of Anthony Richardson. I think it might be a good pick.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all we're trying to say.
Smart
That's all
pick.
we're trying to say. Smart pick. Let us know what you think in the comments. That's going to be it for us, everyone. Thank you for listening to Colts Guys. We are live on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or any platform you use to listen to podcasts. And we'll be back next time to give you some more Indianapolis Colts content. Y'all take care.
Easy.